Well, hey there. For Best Music Coach, my name is Dan, and you are watching a music teacher's reaction. That's me, live in real time to the Mother 3 original soundtrack. I've never heard this music before in my life. If you can't tell, we're live. We definitely are. We're going to go ahead and get started right away. This is part 4 of 6. And interestingly enough, if you're counting carefully, part 4, we're going to start with chapter 5. If you're not confused yet, hang on. Let's do this thing. Here we go. Welcome, chat. We're live. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to upvote the next OST I react to, just make a little super chatty chat to support me, this channel, and that will actually upvote what I react to next. How deliciously funky is this? Hey, let's just do it one more time. So I can actually play along this time, because we got our volume all set here. Okay, see if my hands are gonna wake up. Might do some more of that good stuff later. So, first real song we've heard from this OST, very interesting, going back and forth essentially between two chords. Now, we've heard the same relationship before, though maybe not in this key. All we're doing right here is a C minor to a, what is essentially an F7. I'm gonna call it an F7-9 just because we're having fun today. And really the relationship we have here is C is going to be 1 and F is going to be 4, because in music we like to associate numbers with letters. So A would be 1, B would be 2, C would be 3, D would be 4, E would be 5, F would be 6, G would be 7. What we knew is we can start counting on 1 at C. So we go C, D, E, F, so C is 1, F is 4. So the relationship we have between these two sounds is 1, 2, 4. There you go. That's all it is to it. It's actually pretty easy. Once you start counting and using numbers like that, all you got to be able to do is count to 7. Let's check out this next one. Well, 12, really. Sorry, I was just getting chat unstuck there. Okay, so let's talk about that. So basically, that was just another song underpinned, undergirded indeed, by two individual chords. The first chord was essentially an E minor 7. And then going down a whole step to a D7. And so what's really cool is that it's not the same as the type of relationship, but, well, it's got a similar sort of feeling to it. So instead of going 1 to 4, this is actually going to be 1 to 7. So we go E, F, G, A, B, C, D, 1 to 7, back and forth. Between 1 to 7. We technically would call this flat 7, but you don't need to worry about all those fancy numbers. For now, we just think about this being 1 to 7. These two chords, the relationship, that's what makes the music sound, well, part of what makes the music sound the way it does, is having that relationship of 1 to 7. Let's check out this next one. Okay, so it's really interesting. While that might have sounded like total nonsense to your ears, actually, it was the previous song, pretty much the exact same thing as the previous song. And you might be saying, well, hang on a second, Dan. I might not be someone who's spent a lot of years on music, but I'm pretty sure I can tell the difference between a song and a joke song. And those were not at all the same thing. But they were. They sounded different. I will, of course, agree with that. I'm not going to try and say, oh, no, those sounded exactly the same. Nothing is real. They sounded completely different, sure. but it was the same chords. It was 1 to 7. The melody, it was the same melody. Ba 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 boo ba boo ba 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 bee bee ba, but changed. Distorted. Yes, a perverted version of the melody, indeed. Taken and rendered almost, but not quite, almost indistinguishable from its original form. So what we had there was a very interesting version of the previous song, essentially. Oh, Music Combo says it wasn't the same melody. Well, there was parts of the same melody. I apologize. Same chords. Don't fire me. Okay, first of all, I'd like to apologize because I misspoke. Indeed, Music Combo has my back and said, hey, listen, Dan. Yes, you had the thing right about the chords. But the melody indeed was a melody for Log Cabin. But here's the thing. The melody for Log Cabin and the other melody share some similar figures and features, which is interesting, which is why I got conflated and confused. So thank you very much for keeping me on the straight and narrow there, and for double-checking my work. Okay. Also, by the way, I'm sorry at the beginning of the stream, the chat was frozen. We got it unfrozed. I apologize. Okay. This was actually, in my opinion, the coolest piece we've heard so far today. Now, I'm going to tell you where it got really cool for me, and I'm going to actually play the part for you and then break it down just a little bit. What's happening here. So right here, what's happening? Let's grab that chord. Uh-oh, ears are not working today. Come on, ears. Anyway, point I'm trying to make is that right here, we can hear that this whole song. It sounds very straightforward. And then once we get to here, unexpected things that break the pattern of what we've heard previously start to happen. Here. More now. More now. Oh. Ha! Wild, wacky, and fun. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, come on now. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Oh, one more time. Maybe now? There we go. Oh, yeah. get the guitar again? Let's go. Guitar? If not, I'm gonna go for it. Oh, there it is. So much fun. That was a beautiful song. That was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hey, listen, before we talk about the next one, before we go to the next one, we need to talk about how that was, okay. So let's talk about the beginning, because the way the beginning prolongs this feeling of tension where like, I wanted the beat to drop and I kept going, okay, is it now? Okay, maybe now. Oh, wait, is it now? It's because you really feel like you want the thing to drop. You just want the and the drums to come in. So check this out. It keeps going. Keeps going. Keeps going. Now here, right now I would think yeah. So even right there, just the delay and like the delayed gratification of that thing dropping and rocking and rolling, so cool. So cool to be able to hear that and just like how it feels like one of those classic 80s, early 90s, like Mariah Carey, Celine Dion type of things where it's really going to go back into it. And it sure does. And wow, that was a ton of fun and a beautiful song. Oh my gosh. Oh. Okay. So one particular thing I really want to break down for you guys is right here. Check this out. Right. Is this a different song? Yeah, right song. Okay. Okay, so look, check this out. So before earlier in this stream, we already talked about a 1-4 song. And the 1-4 song we talked about was a 1-4 that sounded something like this. 2, back and forth. Indeed. Now, what we hear here is a different type of 1-4. So the actual sounds of the 1-4, we still have that relationship of 1-4, but the sounds of both chords are going to fundamentally change. And this is one of the most beautiful ways of playing a 1-4, in my personal subjective opinion. We actually could call this a minor plagal cadence of sorts. Not really a cadence, but the progression is plagal in the sense it's going back between 1 and 4. Plagal means a relationship between 1 and 4 in general. So we have this F, and then instead of going to a B flat major, which would typically be 4, we go to a B flat minor. But this is no ordinary B flat minor, my friends. This is a B flat minor 6. And that added note of the 6th makes all the difference in the world for the emotion of how this sounds. So I'll play you one time, just a regular F to a regular B flat minor. So here's your regular F. Here's your regular B flat minor. And you can hear, sure enough, the emotion's pretty much there. But here's the thing, when we turn that B flat minor into B flat minor 6, all of a sudden, listen to what happens. B flat minor 6. Oh. Got a whole different vibe to it. There's a whole different feeling to it. That's one thing I really want to point out to you. It's that use of that minor 6 chord on the 4. Huge. Okay, so what's really, really cool about this song is a lot of times songs will start on 1. We've been talking a lot about numbers today. We're going to talk a little bit about numbers now. A lot of times songs will start on 1. Look at this sound. So we would think that this song would actually start here, but it doesn't. It goes... Now back to 1, but it doesn't just... sus4 a couple times, well, kind of, sort of. And then we're back to 1. Then we do 5 of 6, then 4, then back to 1. And that right there, what an interesting chord progression. And not something you hear a lot in American pop music for sure, but something we're hearing a lot with these Japanese-inspired songs. And so let's unpack just that first part right there again. We have 1 to the 5 of 6. We're not going to go to the 6. Instead, we're going to go to 4. Then back to 1. And then after that, it went something like 2, 3, 4, 5, excuse me, back to 1. And what we're seeing here is a combination of chords, a combination of these sounds associated with these numbers that we don't typically hear, like I said, in American pop music, but we've been finding a whole lot with these Japanese soundtracks. One more time. We have 1, and we're not starting on. The whole song starts on 4, 5. The whole song starts going 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, which in and of itself is so cool and not something you hear every day. Then when we get to 1, we don't just move from 1. We go 1. We play around with 1. And then the song starts. And then right there going to 4. Oh, back to the 1. So cool. So cool. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Love the sound. Okay, let's check out this next one, which is called Wasteful Anthem. You know what song I like to sing after I eat a full meal? Anyone? After I've eaten a lot of food, anyone know what song I like to sing? The Wasteful Anthem. Okay. So what makes that feel so dissonant? So we have the... Go back and listen. We have the lowest note. So what I'm doing approximately. It's approximately what those lower drums are doing. Oh, sorry. There you go. So it's going back and forth like that. And then on top of that, so basically, what we're doing is going G, C, G. This is making it feel like G is 1. Kind of. And then... You want to know why that's so dissonant? That's so dissonant because we have this relationship right here between C and F sharp. And that C and F sharp right there, that's what we would call a tritone. That's one of the most dissonant combinations of two notes you can find. And that's part of what makes that thing sound like there's something, either something bad happening or a fight or an enemy or something I would assume is going on. Chat, you can please let me know what's going on in that song. But yeah, that's what that sound is right there. And that's why this sounds so fraught. Fraught. The next one is called Highness. Whoa. All right, come on, Dan. All right, so the part that I missed right there went to the two, excuse me. So, yeah, really cool chord progression there. Let's actually break it down one time. So all this is, here's where it gets cool. So right there. So we're going from 1 to the 5 of 6. Then we go. We're walking down 6. We're going 6. So A minor major 7, A minor 7, A minor 6, then to F to G to E7 to A7. Oh, sorry, D minor. That was D minor to G to 2 2/5s in a row. Oh, it was dominant. So when I say 2/5, that's because we're imagining something else is now becoming the 1, and we're saying what's going to be the 2/5 of that thing. So for example, 2/5 of C would be DG, because we have C, D, E, F, G. So 2, 5, 1, D, G, C. Now let's imagine, D is 1. So D is 1, E is 2, A is 5. E, A, D, 2, 5, 1. That's how that works. So we have a 2/5. We go D minor G. We don't go to C. We then do what's kind of a 2/5. I mean, it is technically 2/5, but normally you'd have this be minor. You have a dominant, and then 2, 5, and then, well, then to C, and then a quick 4, 1 right at the end to end it. Really fascinating chord progressions. And again, we've seen this a lot on this channel with these Japanese, just the Japanese idea of like what pop music and what songs can be is different than American. And indeed, one of my favorite guitar players went over to Japan years ago and lives there now and plays there. And he came back and he was like, oh yeah, just touring the US. I saw one of his Facebook posts. He was like, yeah, just touring the US. And I'm so blown away by how different the top 40 hits are in the US versus Japan. And indeed, it's not just about the chord progressions, but he was remarking that in Japan, they allow for vocal mistakes, and not mistakes, but the unique characteristics that a singer would bring to the music, Whereas in the United States, we really like to have, especially for our pop music, every single note, every single thing be absolutely perfect, untouchable, unquestionable, unimpeachable. But in Japan, they actually have a word for the imperfections and the good imperfections, the unique qualities that any vocalist will bring to their performance. It was very interesting to hear how that is alive and well in Japan and not so much here, and that difference between the two music cultures, if you will. All right, two interesting licks was like the... That's so cool. That's so like honky tonk. And then the... I'm gonna do it one more time. And what that is, it's basically outlining a chord. So it's outlining our one chord, which in the case is C, but it's approaching it always by one note too low. One note too low, up to the note. One note too low, up to the note. One note too low, again. One note too low. But that, oh my gosh, that like honky tonk piano line. Love it. Love it so much. Love it so much. Okay. Let's keep this going. Okay. Sorry, my ears are a little slow today. We're gonna listen to this one more time. I'll get it for you. All right, so let's break down what's happening there. So we have a C minor to a F minor to a B flat to a G7. What numbers are we going to assign to those to understand them and break them down? Well, the C minor is going to be 1. The F minor is going to be 4. The B flat is going to be flat 7, and then the G is going to be 5. People asking what genre is this? Might be a rumba. Might be it's not salsa, guys. That is not salsa. Rumba, maybe. Yeah. I'd give it a maybe to rumba, but maybe there's some Latin music expert out there who can come in and actually tell us exactly what genre button that would fit into. But yeah, I'd say rumba. But there's a couple of them that like sound pretty close to each other. At least for me, because I've never really gotten into a lot of those genres very deeply. Rumba, I'd say. And I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you a story behind why I think this is a rumba. So I think this is a rumba because what I'm playing on my guitar here. What I'm doing right there is what I call a bar rumba. So it's not actually a rumba. That's not actually what a guitar should be doing in a rumba. But when you play guitar in a bar with like a cover band or a blues band or something, and they say, hey, we're going to play a rumba, you do that and everyone's happy. So I call that a bar rumba. It's not really a rumba, but it gets the job done. Right there. Bar rumba. The little splash symbol at the end. Oh, that's different. Oh, that's mean. Do you have to fight someone during this music? Oh, you have to fight someone during that music and try and get music-based beat combos off that? Oh, heck no. Oh, no. No. Oh my gosh, that's ludicrous. Yeah, I'd say that's infamously difficult. Lord have mercy. A little bit evil, I'd say, Zelda. Green Porcini says it gets worse. It gets worse? Lord have mercy. This one is called Aria of Unease. Not to be confused with Aya of Winterfell. I'm sorry. So that's a loop there. For some reason, I'm not hearing the first chord at all. I'll get it. Give me 1 second here. Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. There we go. Nope. Oh, you know, guys, I don't know what's going on in my ears today. I promise you this is still on my head. It's a little kooky. So, hey, what's really cool about this, we actually heard this back in part 1, where we had a chord progression start and end in A major, then get to A minor. And now we're back here again with a chord progression indeed. It might even be the same chord progression. I don't remember the whole chord progression. Again, starting in A major, sorry, A minor, ending in A major, it starts. Boom, 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 boom. Point is, it starts on an A minor. So that's your 1. So we're starting on 1, and the sound of 1 is this, it's minor. Ma, boo, ba, bum, 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 bum. And it ends up with one sounding different this time around. How cool is that? So chat, can you confirm, is that the same exact chords we heard back in part 1? With it starting and ending on minor major, is that the same chord progression we heard before? Or is this something new where indeed we have that same sort of idea? And yes, Tor V4, it is a super interesting way to resolve that chord progression. I think I might have played it wrong just now. And there, right there, and resolving halfway through, we're resolving it to a different kind of A, which is an A dominant 7. So another 1 chord with a different quality. And then, which is interesting because essentially what we have is a tritone substitution of 5, a B flat 7, then to the 5, the E, then to the... So all together now we have... Sorry. All dominant. Dominant again, dominant quality, dominant quality, dominant quality, dominant again, major 7. And when I'm saying dominant major 7, what I mean is how the 1 sounds. For example, here's 1 sounding major 7. That's the quality of the way 1 sounds. Here's 1 sounding dominant 7. You know, the lowest note stays the same between both chords, but the top changes. Major 7. Oh, different sound. Different sound. And so the 1 remains the same, but what's happening on top of the 1 changes. And we get 3 different looks at 1 in this entire song. The first time we hear 1 on the bottom, it sounds like this on the top. The second time we hear 1 on the bottom, it sounds like this on the top. This third time we hear 1, it sounds like this on the top. Really interesting, really a very interesting chord progression. And thank you for grooving with me a lot. It took me a couple seconds to go through that. I just want to play it one more time because it was so cool. So you start A minor to B7. This is going to be the 5 of 5. 5, except the 5 doesn't push us back to 1. The 5 pushes us to the, essentially what is the 5 of 4. Then we go to the 5 of 7, to the 5 of 3, to the 5 of 6, to the 5 of flat 2. Then indeed we go to the flat 2, which is essentially a tritone substitution. Don't worry about it if you don't understand these fancy words. This is like, just like I explained the basic version, this is like 2 levels of this song, right? You know, you've seen those videos with like people like astronomer explains 5 levels of, you know, how a star works. That's what this is. This is the 2nd level or 3rd level. Tritone substitution, then bring us to 5, and then we resolve really a deceptive cadence at that point because we're expecting it to go back to minor, but no, indeed, resolving to a major 7. Yeah, how many secondary dominants can you have in a single song? Exactly, Zelda. All right, let's check out this next one. Someone forgot about the retardando there. So, there's two words we use in music for slow down. We use retardando and rallentando. Now, there's some interesting debate about which means what. So, rallentando and retardando, and these are musical terms coming from Italian. And we can think about one as being more of a faster slowdown, like really using the brakes on a car, and the other one is kind of like rolling to a stop. If you're in a car that kind of rolls to a stop. And very interesting to have that here. And we've heard some accelerandos, which is where you speed up. But I can't think of many times we've heard so far this OST thing slow down. We heard one at the beginning of Chapter 5 here today where it slowed down a little bit. But that's something new, which is very cool. Let's check out this next one. Charles, Annabelle, Bertrand, Cedric, Chanel, James, Charles, Charles. Well, I think we did a good job naming children today. We can go and punch out the clock. Incidentally, all the children I named were the other colored hearts in Undertale. So, name these children. A beautiful song, beautiful tune. Orion. Yeah, I missed whatever chord was with the F. I'm sorry, guys. My ears today. I don't know what's going on. But everything else, a very beautiful, beautiful song. Very heartfelt. You can feel the emotion. Part of what brings this emotion home and makes it feel so, like, soft and sentimental. So, Part of what makes it so sentimental is how it's going slow, and the melody, the notes, but then also the chords. Ba-be-da, sha, ba-ba-da, sha-la-be-da. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful song. All right, let's see how this next one. Technical issue. Let me refresh this thing. We're back to it. YouTube says, hey, you're using YouTube at another location. I'm like, yes, I am. The browser that's right there. Got this browser right here. Got this browser right here. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that one moment right there, because that is so cool. Let's listen to that one more time. Oh my goodness gracious me. So cool. So look, we have a D minor 7. And then we have, well, how are we going to think about this? We think about this in a couple ways. I'd love to think about this kind of like a secondary down, a tritone substitution of sorts. But I will tell you this, it's also like when you're ending songs, sometimes you can just walk down notes and keep the same note on the top, and it really works. Like, oh, I don't know. Let's do, okay, so let's do it like this. All right, you ready? So we'll keep the same note on the top. Listen. You see how we just kept the same note on the top and we just kind of like whatever chords happened in between? Obviously, I could make that better. I just did that off the top of my head. But the point is, sometimes you can just get away with keeping the same things on top. Because see, these two notes stay the same between the two chords. Two chords, excuse me, 2 notes, then 2, which essentially is really a D flat major 7 or a C sharp major 7 D. Oh, we call it a D flat. D flat major 7 to C. So we're going D minor 7 to what is essentially a D flat major 7, then resolving to a C major 7. Very interesting way of tying things up there. That's looping there. Let's explore just that first part. That's really cool. Okay, so what's happening here is essentially tension and resolution using different notes. So we start off with 1 and 3. So A is going to be our 1, C sharp is going to be our 3. And we're going 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3. And 1 and 4 and 1 and 2, those are like tension. Not always, but here they are. And then 1 and 3, that's resolution. Also, 1 and 1 is going to be resolution. So it's like tension, resolution, tension, resolution, tension, resolution, resolution, tension, resolution, tension, resolution, tension, very much resolution on one played twice. Let's hear it again. Isn't that beautiful? Type of 1 in the chat if you think that's beautiful. Not the way I played it, but just like that in general, that idea is very beautiful. Type of 1 in the chat. Let me know if you think that's beautiful. I won't call you out. If you want to be a lurker and just type a 1, you can be a lurker and just type a 1. I won't call you out. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. So many think that's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. It is beautiful. Ha! Jappy Padatsaki, that's funny. Now, obviously, we've heard this music before in previous chapters. Very interesting to hear it reappearing here. Also, the way it's mixed, it sounds like maybe it's playing in a speaker or in a band that's passing by, or there's some sound source that's far away from us or somehow enclosed somewhere. And that's what it sounds like. Let's keep this going. But hey, before we keep it going, for all of you, looks like there's about 30 of you on here at least. And this is your first time live. I want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come hang with us. And you are most welcome to be here. You can chat, or you don't have to say anything. You're welcome to lurk. But it's very nice to have you here. And I'm so glad we could all sit here and celebrate this incredible music together and just enjoy it together and break down and learn a little bit about it together in real time along the way. So cool. So thank you very much for joining. And all of you who always show up every week or most weeks or come by a lot, thank you so much for your continued support. It really means the world to me that we get to do this together. So thank you so much. And obviously a thank you to Nintendo for allowing us to be here with smiles on our faces, for permitting this to happen, releasing soundtracks and creating these incredible games. Okay, let's keep it going. Ha! Man, that string sound is like, gives me Legends of Zelda vibes all day. Hey, that's because that's the game I always played on SNES. So, check this out. The way this begins is with a little thing that you may be starting to recognize now, because I've been talking about it all stream. And if you're going to take one thing away from this stream, it's going to be about this 1 to 4 business, man. Because I'm telling you, even this whole thing starts off with a 1 to 4. So we have the 1, 4, 1. And then what's built on top of the 1 is major. What's built on top of the 4 is minor 6. Remember I talked about my favorite is minor 6. Maybe it's not your favorite. That's okay. It's okay if you like a different sound. Everyone has their own likes and dislikes, and that's okay. Liking something in music, because all music is art. No art is better than other art, because there's no way to judge art other than how you feel about it. So how I feel about art and how you feel about art might be different, and that's okay. I'm not right. You're not wrong. We just have different opinions on the art. Does that make sense? When we talk about music theory and we talk about connections between things, there are numbers and relationships that we can quantify, and we can take a picture of there and say, okay, oh, here's what's happening in the art. That's what music theory is all about. And then you can take that and use that understanding to then go create your own art, or just understand what's going on in the art itself. Okay, let's check out Magypsy's home. Magypsy's home? There's so many ways the pronunciation of this could go. Sax. Yeah, it's similar to Canon D. Oh, we get another one of it. Okay, this is delightful. All right, so everyone, I want you to listen to this. If you have headphones, put them on. If you got earbuds, put them in, because I'm going to point something out to you that might not translate through your phone speakers. It might, but it might not. So what we're going to listen for here is a 1, 2, 3. It's going to be right, left, center. 1, 2, 3. Right, left, center. Right, left, center. Right, left, center. Let's check this out. You might have never noticed this before. You might have noticed this before. We're going to check this out. Right, left, center, 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 right, left, center. Oops. Oh no! Left, center, right, left, center, right, left, center, right, left, center, right, left, center, left, center. Right, left, center, right, left, center, right, left, center, right. That's really cool. That's really, 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 really cool. That's a unique feature. Okay. Check out this next one. And yet, a mariachi. Ha! Alright, we heard this before. Ah, pretty much a double of what we heard before. Come on. I know it's being used technically in another location. The other location is in the same screen, YouTube. Let's try it again. There it is again. Same resolutions we heard last time. Minor 6. Here it is. Right. Beautiful. So again, what we're hearing, and this is part of what makes an OST sound cohesive. One of the things that make you go, oh, okay, I know I'm still in the same game. I know I'm listening to the same things, is when you could hear these same ideas brought back again and again, not even leitmotifs, but even chord movements. Because leitmotif really, yeah, leitmotif could be a group of chords. That's possible. But when we have these movements of chords, these gestures of chords in the same songs over and over again, and the way the song even starts off, it feels like ba ba be ba boo ba da be ga boo doo ga. That song we've heard so many times throughout this OST. It could kind of go in that direction. Yes, the melody is different, but it feels like it could go there. Ha! All right. So look, what's real interesting here, not only do we have, well, a pretty cool rock corporation. But then we go, which is what we heard at the very, you remember that song? Like, I don't know, that was like 15 songs ago. And it started off by going 4-5, 4-5, then back to 1. We hear the same idea here of 4-5, not starting. It's not exactly the same. It's that 4-5 going back and forth. Yeah. Yeah. Tons of fun. Wow, that was fun, kind of a little surfy, you know. And so what's going on there is we're essentially playing between major and minor. We're going 1 1 flat 3 3. So 1 1 minor third major third. There you go. So cool. So surfy, so rocky too. Well, if the assignment was to make a spooky song that was going to sound spooky and make me feel spooky and give me a spooky vibe and a spooky feeling and make the very corners of my heart feel spooky and covered with cobwebs and weird things, that'd do it. That would do it right there. If any of you ever want to write music and you want to make something spooky, just like copy that and change it 25%. It'll sound spooky. This next one is called Pink Shell. Let's check it out. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, it was so delightful. Let's listen to the intro one more time. Let's do it again. I'm gonna get it. I love this. It's right there. Okay, so it's really interesting. The underlying pulse is like 3. So check this out. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What's happening on top of it has this syncopation. What does syncopation mean? Syncopation means it's breaking the expected pattern of 3. So because underneath we're hearing gong, 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 we're hearing this 3 pattern underneath. Whenever we hear something that's breaking that expected pattern, we're all, as human beings, we're pattern recognition machines. And so whenever we hear a pattern and then we have something that breaks that pattern, we call that, the word for that in music is called syncopation. Try saying that, syncopation, syncopation. And what we can hear basically, now there's other ways of interpreting this. We could call this perhaps indeed polyrhythm, maybe in fact polymeter. But what we can really think about this at a fundamental level is that there's an expected pulse, an expected series of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But then the melody on top of that 1, 2, 3 is, and again, melody, a little subjective. But what's happening is that melody is not conforming to the 3. Right, so like that first gesture of the melody. Right, sort of like 8. 8. But underneath that 8, there's this pattern of 3. And so indeed, we might be able to call this polymeter, polyrhythm. Indeed, might even be polymeter, but at a fundamental level, syncopation, an expected pulse versus an unexpected pulse. And yes, you could argue, well, Dan, technically speaking, the pulse was not established before the syncopation occurs. Therefore, is it really syncopation? Well, technically, no, but in terms of it explaining it at a very fundamental level, that's how we're going to think about it. Okay, so it's just looping at this point. What I want to talk about, this is really cool, is the idea that we have this one gesture, this one melody. But what happens is it changes when it comes back and forth. Let's get a little bit more juiced on this. Oh yeah, all right. Yes, sir, right. So first of all, this intro, what a setup. So right there we stayed a little longer on the first note. So it's actually different the first time to the second time. The first time we stay longer on the first note. The first time it's ba 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 ba. The second time it's wait ba 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 ba. And so right there you can see how you take a similar idea. It's the same notes in the same order, the same sequence of notes, but just by changing the rhythm slightly, you get a lot more mileage out of it and a lot more happens. And it also keeps your interest more. Because if I just went round and round going, type a 2 in the chat if this is putting you to sleep yet. Type a 2 in the chat as you fall asleep. Because I'm playing the same thing. Not just there because I was talking at the same time, but type a 2 in the chat as you fall asleep. Because I'm playing the same thing over and over again. Type a 2 in the chat. This is making you fall asleep yet. Let me hear from you. Type a 2 in the chat. This is making you fall asleep. Yes, sleepy, sleepy, sleepy. Now what happens is we wake you up by going, wait. Love that delay. So that's what composers will do a lot of the time, is that instead of having the same idea and repeating it over and over again, you change it slightly, and that actually keeps things interesting, which is what we can hear right here. Okay. Oh, oh, oh. All right, so let's understand why this is hard to keep track of rhythmically. So look, the established rhythm in your ears is going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So any variation from that is going to be hard to keep track of. Now let's actually explore where this starts to go off the rails. So 1, 2, oh, there it was. All right, so let's rewind a little bit. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Oops, 2, 1, 2. Catch the next one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. It was 5. Right. 4, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So maybe not 5, but adding in that 3. So look, we're expecting a pattern of 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2. And that's what makes it so hard to anticipate what's going to come. It's because you're used to 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And all of a sudden you have a 1, 2, 3. That extra count in there, that extra space, that extra duration of time is what throws you off because you're used to hearing the pattern. Now, unfortunately, that part right there is a little fast for me to play right now, straight off. But I'll tell you what's really cool here is that we're hearing, and indeed the last time I believe we heard from the mole cricket thing is that we heard, we started off in C with these octaves. The relationship between this and this is like a 1 to a 1, but instead we kind of think of it as 1 to an 8. The relationship between a 1 and another 1 that's higher or lower than it, that's going to be an octave. So we hear the octave of C, and then indeed we hear it go up to E flat, which means we're going up 3, C, D, E. And that's exactly what we heard from the mole cricket last time, albeit significantly less complex in terms of da-ga-da-da-ga-da-da-ga-da-da. Those little extra rhythms there. Hey, let's check out the next one. Do you wanna build a snowman? Yes, I do, please. Did I really make this same joke last time? Okay, so something I want to point out here, which is pretty cool, is, well, first of all, we've heard this before. Do you want to build a snowman? And it is that we have this 4. And what that is, we're starting on 4, indeed, and then going to 1. That same connection we've been hearing this entire OST. Well, not every song, but this 4 to 1 we've been talking about this entire stream. We hear it here. Instead of starting on 1, we're starting on 4 and then going back to 1. Thank you, Shattermelon, for your generous super chat. Do very much appreciate your support. Thank you. This is very different from the last time we heard it. Okay. So something really cool happens in this song, in addition to the bass line being real cool, because we actually never heard the bass line doing that every single time we've heard this leitmotif before. Well, I'm going to call it a motif. Because I've not played the game, so I can't associate it with a person, place, or thing. I can only associate it with its musical characteristics, which means I'm going to call it a motif. So what we have here is called a metric modulation. I'll say it again, metric modulation. And that's where we have a certain expected pattern that we're going to follow, and we're going to throw it completely out the door and do a completely different pattern. Metric modulation. Doesn't always mean you're going to throw the pattern out the door, but in this case, it most certainly does. So let's check this out. What happens? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We're going to listen a little bit. The pattern here is 1, 2. You can count along with me. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, So what we're doing there essentially is switching from two pulses, 1, 2, 1, 2, where each one of those pulses are divided into two equal parts. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So you see I'm making two sounds for every pulse. I'm going 1 and, that's two sounds, 2 and, that's two individual sounds for each pulse. It means we're evenly dividing each piece of the rhythm into two parts. 1 and 2 and 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 1 and 2 and. Now here, when it changes, we go. See, I'm going 1, 2 back and forth, but this time it's going 1 and 1 T da. I'm making three sounds, 1 T da, 2 T da. What's happening in this metric modulation is shifting between two pulses, 1, 2, that are divided into two equal parts, and two pulses that are divided into three equal parts. That's the metric modulation there. Very cool. Ha! And there again, we had another radical change, a radical shift in the music. Let's explore it. Here it is. Yeah, that's a tempo shift right there. So a tempo shift. Sometimes metric modulations will involve tempo shifts. Right here, we're just going to talk about the speed. So what's happening here is we have a speed. The speed is, we're about here. Remember the speed? See, the speed completely changes there. Very cool. That would be a tempo modulation. Very interesting. Tempo meaning speed. Tempo, the word tempo literally means time in Italian. So we're talking about the time everything takes. That's the word we use for speed in music. What we're going to do now is we're going to read some super chats that came through today. While I'm reading out the super chats, if you would like to super chat what OST you would like to see me react to next, you are more than welcome to do so. Those super chats support the channel, support me so I can take a little extra time, pay my rent off of this stuff, invest in my other business, and then also invest here and get you guys awesome shorts and things like that I bring to you on this channel, because I actually work with editors and pay them to go and create content for you outside of these streams. So if you'd like to support the channel and upvote the OST you would like to see next, you can go ahead and do that with a super chat. If you'd like to know which OSTs I've already reacted to, there's a link in the description so you can make an informed decision about what you would like to upvote. Oh, this is so cool. By the way, any of you who are here for the first time, like, subscribe, crush that notification bell. Come back. Come hang out. This is a good time. I was really glad to have you. Let's put some music on. We'll put on some music. Here we go. Some chill musics. Chris gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Chris. It's very generous of you. Thank you for coming and supporting this channel by gifting memberships. Chris, who's been a member of the Kazoo Club for 6 months. Thank you, Chris. Rubberman202 says, this one's for Pizza Tower again. I'm so glad the game and soundtrack has been taken off the way it did. It has taken off the way it did. It deserves the attention it's getting. I look forward to your inevitable reaction to its funky, rocky beats. Yeah, Rubberman, I'll tell you, I've been seeing so many comments across the channel talking about Pizza Tower. You were the first, I will tell you. But it seems like everyone's catching up to something you played a long while ago. Next, what's my vocal range? Yeah. Is about my vocal range. Yeah. Usually I can get down to about E flat. And then we gotta yeah, E5. E2 to E5, thereabouts. E5's a bit of a squeak, but there you go. Santiago Gomez Rueda, thank you for your first time super chat ever. Do appreciate your support, thank you. Santiago says, Coach, when you reacted to Subnautica OST? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna add your super chat to it, and that will bump it up the list. You have a list in the description of when I'm gonna react to next. Thank you very much for your support and your super chat, and thank you for that. This is your first super chat ever, so thank you and welcome. T-Mac1313 says, so glad we finally got this OST. I'm also really enjoying playing the game alongside and remembering what's going on during the tracks. This is Final Fantasy VI, which may also deserve a playthrough when you react to that. Agreed. Well, T-Mac1313, thank you so much for your continued support of this channel. I really appreciate it. Shattermelon, thank you for your generous super chat. Shattermelon says, I missed most of the stream again. Here's a double dose towards Kirby and the Forgotten Land. You got it, Shattermelon. Enjoy the VOD. Next says, just to put some racing games on there. Please put this to R4 Ridge Racer Type 4. Also, what's your vocal range? Well, we just explored vocal range, and you got it for Ridge Racer Type 4. And Pikachu says, Pika Pika, Pika Pika, Pika 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 Pika, which translates roughly into, great stream today, Dan. This is to upvote Persona 5 Royale. Also, thank you to Pikachu for creating the playlist we used today. Thank you very, very much, Pikachu. Very much appreciated. Thank you. DaVince, first time super chatter. Thank you so much, DaVince, for your support. Thanks for super chatting. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us today. DaVince says this has been so much fun. Also voting for the Final Fantasy VI soundtrack here. You got it, DaVince. Pedro says, hey, I've been loving your streams, especially the Earthbound, Mother, and Persona ones. I wonder if you'd be able to add Odin's Sphere to your queue of soundtracks to listen. Sure. Such a beautiful game with beautiful orchestrated soundtrack. You've got it, Pedro. I shall add that. And thank you very much for your first time super chat here on the channel. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate you coming to hang out with me. And I'll tell you, for all of you that are still here, I've got something special for you. Because you hung out to the end, you are my ride or dies. You're my ride or dies, and so I will be ride or die for you. And I'm going to invite you to come hang out in my Discord because you watched all the way to the end. And if any of you are watching the VOD and you watched all the way to the end, guess what? You're welcome to this too. Check the link in the chat. If you're looking for the link in the chat, sometimes it takes a couple hours after the stream to finish processing. We're going to go make sure we get you guys invited. Let's copy that link. All right, I'm going to put the link in the chat. And Space Cowboy says, Bump for Sonic Unleashed. Banger stream with groovy beats and awesome jams. Keep up the good work. You got it, Space Cowboy. And thank you for your continued support of the channel. I do very much appreciate it. All right, you all. I will see you next time. Look for Super Chats to be updated a little later today. And I will see you all next time. Take care and goodbye.